It's like the tree and the force analogy. If a team wins a game, but no one's there to see it, did it really happen? The Columbus Crew record says yes, but the ticket sales say no.
Rahal found success early in his career as he won the first race he was ever in, but ever since then, he's learned the value of consistency.
Is this finally a Browns year? A question Browns fans seem to ask themselves every year. On paper, sure doesn't look like it as the team starts training camp with a new coach and a new system.
It's back to football at Ohio State after months of controversy, and it's not just the first day of camp for these players, but for head coach Luke Fickell.
This time of year, the Indians might be used to some change, but this season it might be welcomed.
Most fans are rooting for the quarterback with the least experience, and you can find that in Braxton Miller. But come the season opener September 3rd, Luke Fickell and his staff say that the best player will be on the field.
It's one of the biggest dangers of inter-office dating. If it goes bad, you still have to work with that person. Ohio State announcing its season opener against Akron September 3rd will be broadcast by ESPN, the same network which is suing Ohio State for access to public information stemming from the ongoing NCAA case. ESPN serves as a broadcast partner of the Big Ten. In one word, awkward.
Ready?
He was basically our Superman to us. When we were on the track, he was outrunning the entire football team up and down the bleachers around the track. He beat all of us. And so, well, yeah, when I first heard that he had a heart attack, I didn't think much of it because I was like, this is Coach B. He'll pull out of it, within an hour.
And Superman was exactly what Coach Mark Barron represented to these young football players at Columbus Academy. Coach Barron had pushed and motivated them on the football field, but the team was about to receive news that would change their lives forever. June 7th, during his daily run, Coach Barron collapsed after suffering a heart attack.
I got a phone call from a friend, and I was shocked. I just couldn't believe it. Coach B was, he's always in the weight room with us. He's in fantastic shape. It was just, I couldn't believe it. I didn't believe it for a while.
The Vikings stepped back onto the field without their leader. His football family say this was Barron's favorite time of year, when his passion could not be contained.
Mark would call me almost every night at home during the fall. And honestly, I could put the phone down on the counter, get something to eat, come back on the phone in the conversation, and be right there where I left.
Last year, we were going to camp, and we were all on the bus, and he kept driving so far ahead of the bus, how fast, because he was so excited for camp. We'd have to stop and we'd catch up again.
Barron spent countless hours in the weight room at Columbus Academy and was in tremendous physical shape. But perhaps the toughest lesson for his players is that no matter how strong you are, life is still fragile.
If this happens to a man like that, then, none of us are safe, really.
You think, no matter how in shape you can be, you're still at risk.
His former players say Coach Barron drives this season. They'll play football for their future, but feed off the coach's memory.
Certainly devoting the season to Coach Barron, but not in terms of wins and losses. When we talk about that, we're talking about doing it the way that he'd want, be competitive, work hard, do all the things that he stood for, and that's what we're playing for this season.
1, 2, 3, 4B for us!
Evelyn Curry, NBC4 Sports. Most parents would keep their kids away from a racetrack. It's not the safest place, but for Graham Rahal, the Mid-Ohio racetrack was familiar territory.
I love coming here, spent a lot of time here as a kid. Surprisingly, I haven't raced here that many times, maybe 5 or 6 times total, but you feel like there's always just that home field advantage a little bit.
Graham's father, Bobby, won the Indy 500 in 1986, and when Graham turned 16, he launched his own racing career. Since then, Graham has grown into an IndyCar contender.
He's got a bright future. I think he's still, 22 or something. So, I remember the days when I was 22. We wish him all the best, and hopefully, if it's not Dario or myself, definitely one of the other Ganassi cars would be perfect to see on the podium.
Rahal found success early in his career as he won the first race he was ever in, but ever since then, he's learned the value of consistency.
I've been around a while now. Obviously, there's still a lot of learning for me to do. And, we've had opportunities, and we probably could have done it from time to time this year and last, but, we've got to make it happen again before the season's end.
No place better than home. Evelyn Curry, NBC4 Sports.
You rarely see them as Heisman candidates or team MVPs, but this year they could be as important as ever. They are the front of the Ohio State offense. The offensive line is anchored by All-American center Mike Brewster. The line also returns J.B. Sugarts and Mike Adams, though he will sit out 5 games. Jack Muhort, Marcus Hall, and Andrew Norwell expected to fill the gaps and through a first week of practice have looked solid. A welcome sign for an offense that will have lots of inexperience at nearly all the skill positions coming into Game 1.
We got a really good offensive line. I think it might be the best bunch since I've been here.
Buckeye spirit living on in the NFL this past weekend. Just check out A.J. Hawk, Ryan Pickett, Brian Robisky, and Brandon Saint spell out OHIO. Some of those former Buckeyes made their NFL debuts this past weekend. Cam Hayward made his presence known with Steeler Nation with 3 tackles and a quarterback hit against the Redskins. Meanwhile, Jermel Hines in his Rams debut picked off Colts quarterback Dan Orlovsky in the 4th quarter. Hines also added 2 tackles as he tries to lock down a roster spot with St. Louis. Other notable Buckeye performances over the weekend include Brian Roll with 4 tackles with the Eagles. His fellow linebacker Ross Homan had 1 tackle in his debut with the Vikings. Brandon Sain played a good chunk of the second half for the Packers against the Browns, racking up 54 total yards. And Dane Sanzenbacher didn't catch a ball in his Bears debut, but was credited with a tackle after an interception. You could say that last season they flew under the radar. After all, it seems that Brookhaven or Beechcraft have gone on to win the City League North title year after year, but last year it was Northland who took the crown. The Vikings not only won the North Division, but qualified for the playoffs for the first time in school history. And this year, a chance to make it 2 years in a row as the Vikings dropped to Division II, giving them a better chance to pick up that first ever playoff victory. But first things first, it's all about winning the North Division and further building the Northland program.
Tradition doesn't graduate, you know what I mean?
While Northland drops to Division II, Hilliard Bradley makes the jump to Division I, a seemingly tough blow for a young program that just has 5 wins in 2 seasons. But the Jaguar program given a breath of fresh air this offseason as Mike Laparo comes from Delaware to take over as head coach. And in his short time, he likes what he sees, but that has to translate to the field.
We've got the numbers up quickly.
While most Red fans have given up on the team, the Reds themselves have not. The team riding a 4-game win streak and jumping into 3rd place in the division. They are still 10 games out of 1st. As they go for the series sweep against the San Diego Padres. Padres up 3-0 in the 3rd and not done adding to that lead. RBI single to left by James Darnell makes it 4-0. Dontrell Willis would come out of the game after some injury. And then the bottom of the 4th, Jay Bruce doing his part for the Redlegs. 3-run blast cuts the deficit to 1 as he shoots it to right field. But the Padres add 3 more later and hold off the sweep by winning 7-3. Ben Zinn with the last check of your forecast when we get back.